And go. Dominaria United spoiler hype Commander video part 2. Because these commanders are so powerful, I've been doing a lot of explaining, so I've had to make a second part. So next up is the ever-changing Dane. 1 white, 1 blue, 1 black for a 3/3 legendary creature shapeshifter. For 1 colorless mana, sacrifice another creature. The ever-changing Dane becomes a copy of the sacrificed creature, except it has this ability. So if somebody imprisons or, your or does like a binding spell on one of your creatures, where they can't attack or block or use any of their abilities, you just sacrifice them and spend the 1 mana, and he becomes a copy of them. Except he has his transform ability. So there's a cool shapeshifter to have. Next up is Rasputin, the Oneiromancer. 1 white, 1 blue, 1 colorless for a 4/1 legendary human wizard. It says when Rasputin, the Oneiromancer, enters the battlefield, put a dream counter on it for each opponent you have. Each opponent creates a 1/1 red goblin creature token. Tap 1. Remove 1 or more dream counters from Rasputin. Add that much colorless mana. Tap to remove a dream counter from Rasputin. Create a 2/2 white knight creature token with protection from red. So it's an interesting commander. Interesting legendary. Next up is Tobias, Doomed Conqueror. 1 white, 1 blue, 2 colorless for a 3/2 legendary human soldier with flash. When Tobias Doomed Conqueror dies, for each non-token creature you control that died this turn, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So if somebody wants to board wipe you, you flash this dude in, let him get board wiped, and you get a ton of 2/2 black zombies. Hoo-ha! We've got Thrill of Possibility, and this again is a reprint that they put in the Commander deck. For 1 red and 1, the instant as an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card and draw 2 cards. Next up is Tetsuo Imperial Champion. 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red. Legendary creature, human samurai. Whenever Tetsuo Imperial Champion attacks, if it's equipped, choose 1. Tetsuo deals damage equal to the highest mana value among equipment attached to it to any target. Or you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the highest mana value among equipment attached to Tetsuo without paying its mana cost. Well, Tetsuo is, I believe, is from Kamigawa, and in Kamigawa, you got a lot of equipment, the modular equipment that you get in that set. So, hoo-ha. Next up is Lady of Otaria. 1 red, 1 green, 3 colorless for a 5/5 legendary creature avatar. You may tap 3 untapped dwarves you control rather than pay this spell's mana cost. At the beginning of each end step, if a land you control was put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put any number of dwarf cards from among them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This card pairs well with a card from the main set, Soul of Windgrace, where you're sacking lands to do all sorts of interesting stuff. So, yeah. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Next up is Aisha Tanaka Armorer. 1 white, 1 blue, and 3 colors for a 2/4 human artificer. Whenever Aisha Tanaka Armorer attacks, look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put any number of artifact cards with less than or equal to Aisha's power among them onto the battlefield tap. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Aisha can't be blocked as long as the defending player controls 3 or more artifacts. Well, that's interesting. I can see some shenanigans going on with her. Next up is Shannon Sleeper's Scourge. 1 red, 1 white, 1 black, 1 colors for a 2/4 legendary human knight with menace. Other legendary creatures you control have menace. Whenever you play a legendary land or cast a legendary spell, you draw a card and you lose a life. It's got ups and downs, but can be absolutely useful. Next up is Zerium Golden Wind. 1 white, 3 colors for a 3/4 legendary griffin with flying. Whenever a griffin you control deals combat damage to a player, create a 2/2 white griffin creature token with flying. Griffins, griffins, and more griffins. Next up is Bladewing, Deathless Tyrant, another super powerful legendary creature. So he is for a beefy 1 black, 1 red, and 5 colors. You get a 6/6 legendary dragon skeleton with flying and haste. Whenever Bladewing Deathless Tyrant deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker for each creature card in your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie knight creature token with menace. If you pair him with Rogak, you got some serious stuff on your hand. So next up, excuse me, is Kadric Soul Kindler. 1 red, 1 white, and 2 colorless for a 4/3 legendary dwarf wizard. The legend rule doesn't apply to tokens you control. Whenever another non-token legendary permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1 colorless. If you do, create a token that's a copy of it. That token gains haste, sacrifices it at the beginning of the next end step. So, if you pair this with Stang, you get 2 copies of the Stang twin. This thing can get out of hand if you've got legendary creature tokens. I mean, just think about all sorts of stuff you can do with legendary creature tokens. Hoo-ha. Next up is a super powerful legendary artifact in Gerard's Hourglass Pendant. 1 colorless mana for a legendary artifact with flash. If a player would begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. And for 4 colorless mana, tap it, and exile Gerard's Hourglass Pendant. Return to the battlefield. Tapped all artifact, creature, enchantment, and land cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Yikes! This thing is super useful. If you have it out, you want to play something like a Time Walk or All Runs Epiphany. You want extra turns? No, you're not getting those extra turns. But the other effect, and it has flash, so you just board wiped me. Okay, I have 5 mana left over. 1 mana. I'm going to flash into Gerard's Hourglass Pendant. 4 mana, tap it, exile it. I'm going to bring back everything you just got rid of. Whoopsie! Next up is Moira, Urborg Haunt. 1 black and 2 for a 3/2 legendary spirit wizard with menace. Whenever Moira, Urborg Haunt deals combat damage to a player, return to the battlefield target creature card that was put there from the battlefield this turn. So you took out one of my big threats. I'm just going to attack with Moira. She has menace. Good luck trying to block her. Oh, and that creature you just got rid of? Oh, it's now back on the battlefield. Next up is a Peregrine Dynamo. 3 colorless mana for a legendary artifact creature construct. That's a 1/5 with haste. 1 colorless mana. Copy target activated or triggered ability from another legendary creature. Legendary source that's not a commander. You may choose new targets for the copy. So there's all sorts of legendary creatures, and that includes legendary enchantments, like the background stuff that you get from the Baldur's Gate set. Your planeswalkers that are not commanders. You can find all sorts of uses for that, and it's a 1/5, which it makes it a good blocker too. So hoo-ha. Next up is Verak, Warped Singer. 1 white, 1 black, and 1 color for a 2/2 flying death touch lifelink. Whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, if life was paid to activate it, you may pay that much life again. If you do copy that ability, you may choose new targets for the copy. So a creature that cares about if you're playing stuff that has the Phyrexian mana abilities. So yeah, and he's flying, death touch, and lifelink. So he can be a beast if absolutely left unchecked. Next up is the Reaver Cleaver. 1 red, 2 colorless for a legendary artifact equipment. This equipped creature has +1/+1 and trample. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, create that many treasure tokens equipped for 3. That's gonna be a fun thing. Next up is Ohabi Caleria. 1 green, 1 white, and 1 colorless for a 1/3 legendary elf archer with reach. Untap all archers you control during each other player's untap step. Whenever an archer you control deals damage to a creature, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. An elf archer type of lord. That could be interesting because we've seen a number of archers. There's a number of archer type creatures. And if you can untap them during other people's untap step, yeah, that's gonna be fun. Next up is Zira, the Golden Sting. 1 black, 1 red, 1 green, and a colorless for a 3/3 insect assassin with flying and haste. Whenever Zira, the Golden Sting, attacks, put an egg counter on another target creature without an egg counter on it. When that creature dies, if it has an egg counter on it, draw a card and create a 1/1 black insect creature token with flying. Ew, that can be nasty. Next up is Torsten, founder of Dominaria. 1 green, 1 white, and 5 colors for a 7/7 legendary human soldier that reads, when Torsten, founder of Dominaria, enters the battlefield, reveal the top 7 cards of your library, put any number of creature and or land cards from among them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. When Torsten dies, create 7 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. White soldier creature token shenanigans. And we've talked about some other creatures in the main set that care about creature tokens. Well, I'm at 17 minutes and 30 seconds already, so I'm going to end it here and create another part. I didn't think I was going to create this many, but these creatures are so powerful that I'm having to create more parts. So I'll see you on the next Commander Dominaria United spoiler hype video.